Good evening, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, we are going to talk about a very important topic, and I'm sure all of you who have joined us have been eagerly waiting for it. I would like to apologize to everybody who tuned it on time for this short delay. Uh, there are some technical issues that we have been facing since last 2 weeks, and we are trying to fix that. So probably that's the only reason that this delay has happened. But we apologize with all our heart, and we're trying to fix it. There could be internet drops as we do the webinar, but please stay assured because this webinar is going to go up on YouTube just after we are done with today's session. So you can always go back and take a look at the webinar if you have missed any bits of any parts of it. Um, this is a part of the Joy of Drama webinar series, which we are organizing for parents and teachers alike across. Across India, across the globe. The only reason we are doing this is to get awareness amongst all of us, because when we talk about child well-being and the growth of children, it is very important that teachers and parents think alike. They are on the same page and sailing on the same boat. Today, we have again with us our very dear friend, Dr. Mallika Sen. Dr. Mallika was there with us for the first webinar, and we have her with us today again. Mallika is a developmental psychologist, and she has worked extensively with children. She has done her PhD from University of Bristol. So thank you, Mallika, for joining us for the program. And let me just tell everybody, our viewers, that Mallika and I are going to chat for the next 30 minutes, and we'll call one of our volunteer parents who's a guest parent tonight, along with her daughter, and she'll be here with us, and we will be doing some practical exercises, which I would insist you could take a note or practice with your child live with us. Post that, you can post your queries and your questions on our comment section, and we will be happy to look at them and try to answer as many as we can. Thank you, Mallika, for joining us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here.
Mallika, we have done, this is the third webinar actually with you. We had done one workshop, and that workshop was aimed at focus and attention. And from that, this idea of doing a workshop of for mindfulness it was generated. The idea was generated there. Uh, so to begin with, I would like to touch upon something that we had done before, which is attention and focus. And we had looked at many factors which actually hamper or maybe aid in loss of attention, loss of focus. But there has been a thought, a question that has been going on in my mind, uh, is there any difference between attention and concentration? And because mindfulness is something which we lay people usually we know it like something that you do sitting peacefully, you play a soft music and listen to maybe natural sounds, sit in a quiet
Mhm.
room. Mindfulness as a practice, they say that your concentration becomes better. uh, but that does that also imply that your attention becomes better? For that, I need to know what is the difference between attention and concentration, and is mindfulness effective in increasing both attention and concentration in children and adults both?
Right. Okay. So, attention and concentration are very closely linked together, but they're not one and the same thing. So, what is attention? Attention, from the perspective of what your brain is doing, is anything that your brain is actually in that moment focusing on.
Hmm.
So, and your brain can actually attend to more than one thing at the same time, because there's a lot of information that's coming in through
Hmm.
your brain from all your senses, right? And what happens is there's so much information coming that you need to be able to single out one thing at a time. So that is attention. When you single out something and you are focusing on it, whatever that is, whatever task that is, whatever sensory information that is attention, right? Concentration, on the other hand, is sustained attention. So if you are doing a task and you're focusing for a very long time, over a period of time, right? 10, 15, 20 minutes, that is concentration. Now your attention can be taken by different things. So for example, I'm talking to you now, but supposing out, off the screen, there's a loud
Hmm.
noise. Right? I'm
Hmm.
attending to what we're talking about. I'm talking to you, but there's this
Hmm.
loud bang. My
Hmm.
attention, my brain is going to go, ooh, that is now the most salient thing that has happened for it. So it's going to look, I'm going to look up, I'm going to jerk, I'm going to have a very visceral response to it. It's not
Hmm.
something I can actually stop, because my brain is constantly doing that. It's aware of everything that is actually happening, and it's constantly assessing which is the most important thing that it needs to give its attention to at that time.
Hmm.
And as creatures and human beings, we are going, what is the most important thing? Our fight flight reflex. So if something
Yeah.
loud happens off, so something happens like that, I am going to jerk. My brain is automatically going to shift its attention away from a conversation or something to alarm bells are going to ring. Ooh, I need to give attention to that. But I'm not necessarily concentrating on what's happening. I am
Hmm.
just, my attention has been captured by that. But then I can switch my attention back to whatever task I'm doing and focus on it. Concentration, on the other hand, is any task that requires a sustained focus. So if I'm studying, if
Hmm.
I'm learning the piano and I'm playing something, so then I have to concentrate, because that attention of mine, my brain needs to switch off from everything else that's around it, all
Hmm.
the 10, 15 things that are bombarding it, and it needs to focus and pay attention only to that task. So that's the main difference between these two things.
And how does mindfulness come in? Because mindfulness, there are lots of myths regarding mindfulness.
Mhm.
Many people are, many of us, I'm not just talking about parents, teachers, everybody, like our parents, our friends and family. Uh, the moment we say mindfulness, there's something that there's a link towards meditation. That mindfulness is meditation, and the moment we hear the word meditation, it's a big word,
Don't
and it's a very big word. And I think meditation, people actually go away from meditation because they think that that is beyond their capability. I feel I'm not meant for meditation. I cannot meditate. But what is this whole thing about meditation and mindfulness? Are there any myths that are doing rounds? And is mindfulness kind of a misused word? Because it's nice to hear that yes, we are doing mindful parenting, mindful teaching, but is mindfulness anything to do with meditation and that line of thought, or is it something that we can do every day, like instead of going deep into something as serious as meditation?
Right. Okay, so you've asked me a lot of questions. So
Yes, I've lost you a lot of questions. Yeah.
I'm going
So
to try and break it down and go
yeah,
step by step.
yeah.
Right. So let's start with, what is mindfulness? What did it originally mean?
Hmm.
So this is an age-old tradition. This is from like Buddhist texts and ancient wisdom.
Hmm.
And what was it about? It was about going within oneself.
Hmm.
It is a form of meditation, what they call meditation, because all meditation also involves going within yourself and stilling your mind. Now, these are big words. These are things
Mm.
that people will think, oh my God, what? I can't do it, which is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
But as we'll see today, it's not that difficult and it's not that scary. It shouldn't
Mm.
necessarily be that scary. So, one
Mm.
thing is that originally mindfulness was about going within oneself, assessing who you are as a person, coming
Mm.
to a better knowledge of who you are
Mm-hmm.
so that you can live in a more wholesome way around with your surroundings, right? And the essence of mindfulness is that you make your brain aware, alert of every moment that and whatever you're doing in that moment. So it's just that you are conscious of what you're doing, you're paying
Mm-hmm.
attention to what you're doing in that moment, and you're very aware of that moment. Why? Because our brains generally, we tend to live in the past, in the
Yes.
future. We don't live in the present moment. And that is something that we need to actually stop and think about. So we're always so worried, oh God, I said this, I did this in the past. What repercussions could that have? Oh my
Mm.
God, what is going to happen tomorrow? Who has seen tomorrow and what can we do about the past?
Mm.
Not much, right? But we can actually live in this moment. And if you are living in this moment and you are aware of every little thing that is happening, that definitely makes your brain more alive, makes you feel more alive, right? So that is the
Mm.
essence of what mindfulness is. What is a layman's perspective is something that we've been told, I think, more commercially.
Mm.
It's become a very commercial thing. Mindfulness is a
Yes.
buzzword nowadays, right? It's a
Yeah.
total
Yeah.
buzzword.
Yeah.
Everybody is using it. It's like a mantra almost in offices, in workspace, life coaches. Everyone tells you need to calm down, be mindful. But what are they trying to say,
Hmm.
right? What is the stick? What is the spiel there? Essentially, they're saying there's a lot of stress in the world, your hectic lifestyle, etc., etc. Very commercial, very materialistic. But you need to take a step back. You need to de-stress. So you use mindfulness to calm down.
Hmm.
But then you use that calm state of mind to go back to work and get stressed again.
Hmm.
So it's like a vicious cycle. You get stressed,
Yeah.
you de-stress, you reset, and then you get stressed again. So at the end of the day, so the techniques and the exercises, that's basically the commercial outlook
Hmm.
towards it. But that's not
Hmm.
what we're trying to do. Or if you really want to practice it and bring it into a part of your life and
Yeah.
have something called mindful living, which is
Yes.
meaningful, and it's not just for adults. You
Yeah.
can start this with very young children also, and something that you can build over the years. You
Mm-hmm.
can really have that meaning, right? Or that essence of it captured in your life. So that will
Hmm.
give you a better outlook to life, right?
Definitely. So
So,
that, yeah, I mean, being mindful is something which, if we can make it a part of our living, if we can make it a part of our being, then I think that makes more sense. We have to practice it
mhm,
daily.
yeah.
And if not just daily, make it a habit in the thoughts as well. So, mindful thinking is something that we should always, be in. So, are there any techniques that really are there techniques that are taught to stay in this, in this state of mind throughout? Is it possible? Because people say that it is possible.
So, with a lot of practice, I'm sure it's possible. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I can do it all the time.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, if you make it a practice in your life,
Hmm.
10 minutes a day,
Hmm.
and I'd say 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. It's
Okay.
quiet time for your brain. It's downtime for your brain. It's also time when you can reflect and think about what's happened in the day, or maybe what if you're doing it in the morning, what you're going to do in the day, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's like a reset for your brain at
Hmm.
whatever point in time. And
Hmm.
it's not like you'll be able to maintain this awareness and state of, being in the present throughout the day.
Yeah, it is
But
difficult. Yeah. Hmm.
very difficult. But supposing you're feeling that stress, or you're feeling that tension, or you're feeling maybe lazy, or apathetic,
Yeah.
or oh,
Yeah.
I can't be bothered to do this today, right?
Yeah.
That's a time you can assess. You assess that, oh, I'm feeling like that, then maybe I just need a bit of a brain break. I need to take a little bit of time out and rejuvenate myself. So, practice some of these mindfulness exercises, maybe. And there are exercises that you
Yeah.
can
And
do
we
very,
will
very
be
quickly.
talking, we'll be
We
doing
will,
that
yeah.
as well. We'll be doing that as
We
well.
will be doing that as well. And they're very quick exercises, the very quick activities that you can actually do to calm yourself down when you're stressing out,
Hmm.
so that you start forgetting about all those stressors, and you can actually get down to whatever it is that you need to do, even if it's just getting on with your daily life. Maybe you've had a panic attack and you need to calm down.
Yeah. Yeah.
So any of those things. So it's a constant, I think it's a constant awareness of
Hmm.
what your triggers are, what your state of mind is,
Hmm.
and then coming back and say, okay, now I can control it.
Hmm.
I need to calm down. And you just do the exercises, whatever, you feel a bit better, and then you move on with your day. And then at
Okay.
night, I think take a little bit of time again before you go to sleep to have that reflection of the day, self reflection, just, relax your mind a bit before you sleep. So you wake up more rejuvenated.
Hmm. There are many teachers who are watching us today. Uh, do you, and you have taught children extensively. So, do you suggest that every teacher should practice a mindfulness activity when she or he enters the class? Uh, because mindfulness definitely centers aligns your, energies.
Mhm.
Uh, is it a good practice? Do you think this can be practiced in big classrooms?
Yes, of course. There are many ways of doing that. And
Mm,
definitely, I think the moment the teacher enters the classroom, it's a good idea actually to just get them to focus, because in the 10 minutes that between classes or
mm,
something,
yeah.
children need to let go of their fidgets. They need that, they're hyperactive anyways. They need to get up and scream and run around, have a little bit of downtime, right,
Mm,
before they
mm,
get back to focusing. So
mm,
if one thing is that if you switch classes, if you as a teacher you've gone and you've seen the other classes overrunning, the
mm,
teachers till then they come out and then you go in, I'd say don't start your class immediately, because
mm,
the children have had no time to shift from one year to the next,
mm,
one subject to the next. You need that time. Your brain needs that time to make that adjustment. Otherwise,
mm.
what's going to happen is you're going to get a bunch of stroppy kids. They're going to be tired. They're going to be frustrated. Their brains are going to be tired. So they might be sitting there, but they're not actually absorbing what you're trying to tell them. That's not
Is it,
necessarily useful.
yeah. Is this also applicable to parents when they are teaching their children at home after school? Because as parents, we also teach different subjects in the same day. Do you think we should also give them a break
Yes.
between teaching different subjects? Is
No,
that something that,
absolutely.
mm,
Absolutely.
or practice mindfulness exercises while, I mean, during the time period of teaching?
So, one thing that's very important to remember whenever you're teaching a kid is that they have
Mm,
a attention span. We talked about attention and
yes,
concentration. We
we
talked
have.
about this extensively last in the workshop.
Yes, in
But
the
there's an
workshop. Yeah.
attention span. There's an attention span for children, and it
Hmm.
depends a lot on age group as well. So,
Hmm.
if you have a younger child, like a 6-year-old or something, you're going to get them 10 minutes, 15 minutes at a stretch,
Hmm.
tops. You're not going to get them to concentrate and pay attention to what they're doing for longer than that. So
Yeah.
don't expect it. Break it down. Give their brain a break. Let them, if they want to, it's as simple as let them go get a glass of water. Let them get
Hmm.
up, get the fidgets out or whatever. But if their
Hmm.
mind is completely distracted and they're
Hmm.
not able to get back to work, then yeah, sure,
Hmm.
try a couple of mindfulness activities. The thing is, some of these mindfulness activities are really nice for children as brain breaks as well. They just, it's totally different from what they've been studying.
Yeah.
So what's happening is the part of your brain that has been, at this intense concentration is now getting some time out, and
Hmm.
you are focusing on something completely different. So a different part of your brain is now being activated.
But
Right?
would you also call this a part of mindfulness? Is
Yeah.
that also a part of mindfulness? Okay.
What is mindfulness? At the end of the day, mindfulness is
Hmm.
just being aware and in the present moment.
Hmm.
Right? So you're
Yeah.
attentive to what you're doing. So whatever
Exactly.
Whatever you're
Yeah.
attending to, as long as you are there, present, your
Mm.
mind is not wandering all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
You're being mindful. That's why mindful living is not something that
That
only
you do,
sadhus.
or
It's not
that you
only
do. You take time out and you do mindful living and then come back.
yeah.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't take time out from it. You should have it as a conscious thing every. You should try and cultivate it. It's difficult, but you should try and cultivate it because that's why. Well, the present is beautiful. That's all you have really with you, right? So you need to
Mm.
grab hold of it with both hands and enjoy it. So I mean, anything that you do, and mindful living is all about that. It's about everything that you do, you are there, present. You're not, your mind is not 1,000 miles away in, what did I have for breakfast last evening, or what am I going to do tomorrow, what work am I going to do tomorrow. Instead of worrying about that, what do you have to do today in
So
this
what is
moment?
the top exercise, top mindfulness exercise that can be quickly done? Because now is the time of quick fixes. Everybody wants a quick fix, which is impossible. But we can always get into quick brain breaks and do something during that brain break.
Yeah.
What is that activity that all of us over here can practice?
Well, one of the easiest things to do is breathing exercises, deep breathing exercises. Um, I I definitely say the one rule though, if you are doing any mindfulness exercises, please put off your phones, please put off your gadgets. Don't have too much noise around you, because
Mm.
again, and the reason is not because of the gadgets or anything. The reason is because it's all going into your brain.
Mm.
All this information coming from any direction, any sense, this is going into your brain. The less clutter in your brain, the more mindful you can actually be.
Yeah.
So you're trying to declutter your brain essentially, right?
Mm.
You're going from a full mind, which is like jabba, 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 jabba all over the place, to something that is quiet. So a quiet mind is the most responsive, right?
All right.
So the quickest thing to do is breathing exercises, and this helps in so many ways. And it's not even just to focus yourself. When
Mm.
you're stressing out, if you are really stressed, deep breathing. It's a physical process. Mindfulness is not just about a mental process, right? It
Mm.
has a direct implication on your physical well-being as well.
Yeah.
Deep breathing opens your airways, opens your lungs, fills it with oxygen. So you're doing a lot of things physically, also physiologically inside your body. A lot of stuff is going on. You're, you know, filling your lungs. You're giving oxygenating your brain, and you're just trying to calm down. And that itself is
Yeah.
very, very helpful.
Can we do this, Malika? Can all of our viewers
Absolutely. All of us can
practice
do
this
this.
right now with you? Can you guide us through a deep breathing uh,
Yeah.
exercise or activity?
So one thing, and just before that, I'd like to say you can do this at any time. I
Okay.
found sometimes it's useful, and it's useful when you are stressed, when you're feeling distracted and all that. But it's also useful if supposing you are starting a group session with someone,
Hmm.
online classes, or work for
Work.
older
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
and parents. If you're
Yeah.
doing group discussions and things, if you're in a conflict situation, if your
Hmm.
emotions are on high, right?
Hmm.
Take a minute, take a minute, ask for a minute,
Hmm.
do this, or do it together as a team. Do it together before starting anything. Then you're all in the same space, you're all focused, you're all ready to begin whatever that task is, right? So the
Okay. So, do you suggest that our children, all of our children right now, are on online school? So they are attending school online.
Mhm.
Everybody is glued to their screens for a very long time throughout the day.
Yeah.
Do you think before getting into an online class,
Yes.
it is advisable to do this with maybe your parent for a child, or the parent takes the initiative and does it with the child before the child goes into the online school?
So again, there are different things you can do
Mm.
with different ages of children. Yes, it's
Mm.
important that they are in an aware, ready state to learn. Because
Yeah.
if they're stressed, if they're frustrated, if they're tired, if they've got too much
Mm.
energy, also they're not in a frame of
Yes.
mind to begin
Yeah.
learning, right? So
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
something that yes, the parents can keep an eye on, and older
Mm.
children who are aware, self-aware, and who can self-regulate can
Mm.
understand that they're in that kind of a space. So take that time out, for themselves and just do it by themselves. Even I think even younger children can, but they need to be given that practice.
Yeah.
So if you make it a practice, if you make it a habit with your child, and it's beneficial for you as well. So please do it,
Yeah.
not just your child. And your child learns from seeing the parents doing
Yes.
it or the teachers doing it. So they learn by example. So if you also very dedicatedly set aside that time and explain why it's important to them, it's very important to explain why they're doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Then definitely it's useful to do these exercises and make sure that your kid is in a space where they are ready to begin learning.
All right. Let's
Um,
begin breathing.
yes.
Let's start breathing now.
Okay. So what we're going to do is just
Hmm.
tell you we're going to take a deep breath in. So everybody has to sit up straight, preferably
Un-
uncross your legs.
uncrossed. Yeah.
Uncross your legs. You can't. It shouldn't. Why again uncross your legs? You're trying not to have a tight, or closed body posture. You're
Yeah.
trying to have very open body posture, very relaxed body posture, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And slouching is not a good idea, so don't slouch, because that's again doesn't that crushes your organs. So if you sit, straight, back straight, uncross your legs, and then just you close your eyes and take a deep breath in from your stomach. So you fill your lungs, your entire diaphragm. You should feel your chest sort of expanding. You take a deep breath in through your nose, then you hold that breath for 3 counts. Later on, you can hold it for 5 counts. If you can, slowly increase it. But for today, we'll start with 3 counts.
Okay.
Then, when you exhale through your mouth. So it's like, it's just that. It's not like you don't have to, give that kind of force. It's just very calm breathing in, wait for the 3 counts, and then breathe out. And we'll do this. You can do this 5 times. Close your eyes and do it, please, whoever's doing it.
Okay.
And then just see if, you feel a little bit better. You'll feel a little more energized, maybe, or you'll feel a little more alive, right? Or a little calmer. If you've been doing 10 things and it's already quite late at night, no, you might feel a little calmer as well. So can we start? I will do the counting
Okay.
and start it through, and
Okay.
then we can do it, right?
All right.
And we'll do this also 3 times. We'll do the breath out, breath out, breath out. We'll do 3 times.
Yeah. And after this, we are going to call our volunteer parent, Sonia, so that she can join in with her daughter
Mhm.
after this exercise and maybe carry on our other activities which we can do with our children. But this is for
Yes.
everybody. This is for us
This is for
and
everybody.
for everyone.
Absolutely. And everybody, and this can be done at any point in time during the day. This is
Yeah.
not, whenever you feel that you need a bit of calm, try
Yeah.
it,
All
right?
right. Yeah.
Okay. So everybody, legs uncrossed, relaxed, very, nice, open body. We can begin. Ready?
Yes.
Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Repeat. Breathe out. Last time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Vaishali, would you want to share what you felt after doing that?
Yeah. I feel a little light in my head.
Yeah, you do, because you've suddenly got this rush of oxygen going to your brain, which
Yeah.
is not a bad thing at all. It does a lot of things. It releases a lot of neurohormones and things. It makes you
Mm.
calmer. It actually does
Mm.
make you feel a little lighter.
Yeah. And
And
I have a
hopefully,
little tingly sensation in my fingertips.
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you need to do that more than 3 times, please do it. 3, 4, 5, 6. as
And
many times as we need to.
how much, for how long shall we hold the breath?
I said for now 3 counts is okay,
Okay.
but if you can do 5 counts, 5 counts is also good because
Okay.
it's just basically expanding your chest and your lung power, increasing
Hmm.
the amount your lung capacity and things like that, right? So that's also very very good as in physical exercise for you to do.
Okay.
And this is the easy form of things like what they do, no, Kapilabhati and pranayama and all these things which
Yes.
you
Yeah.
hear about and you can get scared about. Thinking, oh my God, I can't do that.
Yeah.
It's an easier, shorter, cheat way of
Version.
doing it.
All right. So, can we call Sonia now? Sonia, are you there with us?
Hi. Yes.
Hi, Sonia.
Hi.
Hi, Anaya. Hi. So, Sonia is a very old friend. We met at a theater workshop many years ago. I think 12 years ago, and Anaya was not there then. But now Anaya is here, and we have both of them with us. Sonia is a filmmaker. She's a very busy parent, and she has brought up Anaya very beautifully. And she's a very smart girl, and also happens to be my student. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So, anything, Sonia, that you would like to ask before we go into the activities?
No, I was just what I was hearing. I'm just curious on the mindfulness.
There's a lag.
Yeah, I
There,
couldn't
yeah.
actually quite get that.
Normally they don't need
Sonia, there's a little lag in your in the internet connection, I think. Can you hear us properly? Okay. All right.
Maybe actually while Sonia's trying to get her connection back,
Yes.
there's one
Yeah.
thing I did want to say is when you're talking to children about mindfulness,
Hmm.
how do you actually explain this to them? Because what we were
Yes.
talking about now, saying being in the present moment, being aware, these are things adults will actually or older children will actually understand. But if you've got a
Hmm.
younger child, how do you explain this to them in a way that they actually understand why they're doing something? Because it's
Yeah.
always very important not just to tell your child do it and it's good
Hmm.
for you, but also that they understand why they're doing something,
Why they're doing it? Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
there's a very beautiful experiment that you can, a small experiment that you can do with your child if you're talking about mindfulness. You take a jar, you fill it with glitter, you know, put some glitter in it, put some water in it, and you fill up the jar, and you shake, you close the jar, and you shake it up,
Hmm.
and then you keep it and watch. And you tell your child, look at it. So the glitter is now dispersed all across the water, right? That represents your mind. When it is full of different thoughts, different competing senses, and oh,
She's trying to connect, I think,
yeah,
Sonia.
yeah,
Yeah.
she is. That's all right.
Yeah.
So, as I was saying, that when the glitter jar is full and it's disturbed, it
Hmm.
represents your mind when it's disturbed, when it's got
Hmm.
so many thoughts floating around. And you
Hmm.
just settle this jar down somewhere and watch it for a while. And you will see slowly, the glitter will spiral, and it will
Hmm.
settle at the bottom. So
Yeah.
that is what your mind should look like when you are being mindful. It's now
Hmm.
quiet. All this extra stuff that's happening around you, you've quietened it down, you've calmed
Hmm.
it down.
Hmm.
Now you are ready. The glitter's still there. So that means you're still aware of what you're doing, but you're now aware. You're alert. You're not
Hmm.
distracted by these 100 different things that are going on. So that's a
Yeah.
very beautiful visual way of showing a child how to make a chaotic mind into something that's very calm. So that's
Great.
one way of starting.
Yeah.
Starting the discussion about mindfulness,
Mindfulness.
right?
Hmm.
And I think we can
Yeah.
talk a bit about the benefits of it. Maybe if Sonia hasn't connected, I know we was going to do it later, but should we
Yeah.
continue with that?
Sonia, are you there?
We are there. Are we audible?
Yes,
Oh,
you're audible.
great.
Yes. Good. Great. So I think we can start with our activities. Malika, I also have got whatever you had asked me to get. So we have sketch
Yes.
pens. I have sketch pens. I have paper. And our viewers who are watching us, if you can get hold of a paper or a sketch pen or a pen, please keep them handy. Yeah. Yes, Malika.
So we'll just go through the exercises. So I don't know. So I hope Sonia was also there when the breathing exercises were happening.
Yes, I was.
Great, great, great. So the usefulness of that, as I said, was just any time, anywhere, calming yourself down, right? So now the next thing which you can do with your children, because now if you tell them meditation, that's not something that happens easily, right? For a
Yeah.
child, it's not going to happen easily. So instead of that, what do you do? As I said, mindfulness is about doing anything and being aware of your surroundings. So now we're going to try an exercise which is called listening to your surroundings. And this is something that's very important for children because a lot of the times we're very visual creatures. We get distracted by a lot of things that are visually around us and we forget to listen. So what we're going to do is we're going to close our eyes, right? And we're going to listen really carefully for 1 minute. Vaishali, you can time us, please.
Yes, I will time. I was going into the exercise. I'll time
Yeah.
you. Okay.
You can go into the exercise, just have a timer or something that will tell
Yeah.
us. So what
Sure.
we'll do, 1 minute, we'll close our eyes and we'll listen really, really, really carefully. Okay? And you have to tell me, especially you need to tell me, both of you need to tell me actually, what did you hear in your surroundings? What all did you hear? And I want to hear the tiniest of noises that you could hear. Try and concentrate on that. Forget about anything else and everything else that's happening around you and just listen. So it's only your attention is fully on what is going in through your ears. Let's do the exercise and we'll talk a little bit about why that's actually a good.
Yeah, and I think all our viewers can also do this along with Sonia and Anaya and me.
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
Ready, Anaya? Ready to do it? Okay, great. So first thing, let's close our eyes. Okay, and then let's start. 1, 2, 3, go.
And time is up.
Okay, right. So Anaya goes first. What did you hear? What all did you hear?
Anaya, are you there? Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me what did you hear, sweetie, when you shut your eyes?
In the
Hmm?
utensils,
Utensils. She heard utensils. Okay.
And then did you hear anything else? Just utensils clang. Okay. Sonia, what did you hear?
Yeah, it was the sound of my machine, first of all. Some space next to sound of the fan, sound outside. Um, then, then I could also hear some sound from Anaya's stomach. And then I think I was just wondering if the time is getting up or not, but since it wasn't, then I could also hear like some very distant sound. It sounded like somebody outside the building is doing something very far. It
Mhm.
was from. Yeah, a couple of these.
Yeah, so this is so I heard, I could hear my AC running. I could hear, despite that, I could hear, because you need to go deeper and deeper, deeper into that silence and start listening more carefully. I could hear crickets outside my window. I could hear the dogs barking, and I was wondering,
Hmm.
why are they barking? What's happening? I could hear there's some construction works. I could hear a little bit of that coming through the windows and filtering very, very carefully. But yeah, the thing is, if you're not used to having that time, you will start in between getting distracted maybe
Yeah,
and wanting to,
like Sonia started thinking, when is it going to get over?
Yeah.
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 So the idea is to start small, start with a minute, and I could you hear any of the things that Mama heard? Did you hear your stomach rumbling? You did. So the idea is it's a good game. So when you take it's a nice thing to do because it does focus you. It does actually tune you into your surroundings. But it's also a really fun game to play with children because you say, let's see who can hear more noises than I, and you play that game.
Yeah,
Even if
and
you go outside,
yeah.
you have more things to hear. Obviously, if you're in a balcony, or if you're in a terrace, or when you're in nature and surroundings, you'll
Hmm.
hear a lot of things. So you
Yeah.
play that game and you try to see who listens to more things,
Yeah.
and then you slowly build the timer,
Mm.
1 minute, 2 minutes, like that, and see how far you can go without uh, getting distracted
Mm.
and just listening. That's one thing. The other thing is, while you're doing this, you can also do your deep breathing. So I
Yeah.
could hear my breath.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
could actually hear my breath after
Yes.
a while, which is something we don't normally focus on, but it's beautiful to focus on what your body is doing,
Yeah.
right?
And it is so strange, not strange actually. Listening, this particular exercise is the first exercise that we do in any theater workshop,
Absolutely.
any drama workshop. It starts with this exercise, which was brought in by theater great Stanislavski, who actually taught how to get closer to your senses. So I think drama, if you do it properly, then you definitely do this exercise and make this as part of your routine uh, process.
I think a lot about drama is very mindful.
Yes,
You
yeah,
have
it
to
is.
be. You have to be
You
in
have
the
to be.
moment. You have to be absolutely there, present in the moment, to
Yeah.
respond, to
Yes,
react, to know
yeah,
how to, you know, uh, listen to what the other person is saying,
yeah,
empathize, understand,
yes,
then
yeah.
respond. So it's a lot about being there. If you're 1,000 miles away, you're not going to be able to do theater
Hmm.
beautifully,
And there
Yeah,
are
right?
no retakes in theater. So you
yeah,
Exactly. There are no
don't
retakes.
get
So
that
you have
opportunity
yeah.
to not do it when
absolutely,
you do it.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah,
I absolutely love being a part of theater because of that. I mean, that's one of the things I take a lot of joy in doing
yeah.
in my free time. That dancing also. I'm a dancer, and I that's something that I also feel is very, very mindful.
Mm.
Music,
Mm.
another thing. If you're learning it, you have to be in that moment.
Yes, yes,
It's joyous. It's actually joyous, right? Because you feel it. You feel the music flowing around you. You feel when you're dancing, at least when I'm dancing, you feel like you're one with that music. Your movement, the music, everything around you is just,
So
it's a perfect moment. Yes, it's in
yeah,
synchrony. It's absolutely in sync. It's a perfect moment.
yeah,
So yeah. So
yeah.
that was
So,
one.
okay, next.
Next,
Yes.
next one. The next one we can actually do, and which is really nice. Mindfulness is not just about calming yourself down and focusing.
Hmm.
One very important thing that we can do when we're being mindful is being mindful of our emotions.
Okay.
A lot of the times, because we are so active, so many things are going on in our heads, so many things we have to do, right? Every day, we forget about a bit of self care. And what happens if you're frustrated, if you're stressed, if you don't have an outlet for those emotions, if you haven't processed them properly because you're hurrying up, going from one thing to the next, you will get frazzled, you will have a burnout, you will, if you're a child, you will have tantrums happening, you will have them, just being really moody or upset and, distracted, all those things. So now what you can do, and one of the other ways of, and it is mindful living, right? To be aware of what you are feeling, what you are thinking, and to process them. Instead of just, oh, I'm feeling angry, I'm going to react, I'm going to, lose my temper and say whatever that comes to my mind. You take that time, once you've learned this, you take a time to respond. It's not that you have to hide your emotions or suppress them, but instead of instant reaction, you respond to what the situation is. So then what does that involve? It involves assessing what you're feeling. It also involves assessing the situation. What is the other person feeling? Right. So what happens? You become a more empathetic individual. You empathize with the situation, you understand it, you understand the other person's point of view, you understand yours, and then you respond. You take that time to have a meaningful response, and then that is actually a lot happier situation, right? In any kind of emotion. So one thing to do, if when we're adults, one thing we say to do is mindful being, sitting with your emotions. But children won't necessarily be able to sit with their emotions because that's again a very difficult thing to do. And even adults, when they're first learning to do it, that's actually quite difficult. When sitting with your emotions means you sit quietly, you detach yourself from the actual emotion that you're feeling. And by detach, I don't mean, um, like the sadhu type of detach. I just mean that you are more of an observer of that feeling rather than in the moment and your head is, full of whatever the emotion is. You just quietly observe what you're feeling and then try to assess it. When you're in a calmer space, you assess and process,
But
which is why
observing your feeling, Malika, is a big thing for a child. I mean, how do you, how do
exactly.
we,
So for a child, you can't just tell them to sit down and do that.
Mm,
Adults will do it, children will not. So one very nice way of doing it, and even if adults are finding it difficult, very nice way to do it is to draw it. So
okay.
if you're feeling, if your child is in a very emotional state, pen and paper, any pen, any paper, any kind of sketch pen, any kind of paper available, ask them to draw their emotions out. Draw, paint, color. There's a freedom of expression and creativity in art, but also it helps to break that. Sometimes you're not able to express it, right? Children, especially, will not be able to express their emotions clearly. It'll come out on paper. You can actually see, and slowly, it won't come out immediately the first day you try it. But slowly, if you try to do this, you will see that the colors, the things that they use, the graphics, whatever they do, their doodles or whatever, will actually start expressing what they feel. So that's a really nice way of dealing with your emotions as well because you're letting it out. It's an outlet. So we're gonna try and do that now. I mean, I'm not saying that we're all very emotionally charged right now, but it's something or the other will be going on in your head, right?
Yes, absolutely. I've already drawn
Always.
my face. It's ready.
So whatever's going on in your head, just take
Yeah.
a pen and paper and let's just draw something.
Let's all
Right?
do it. Everybody
Let
who's watching us,
everybody,
let's all
yes.
do it. Let's all take this
So
time out and
I'm going to do it as well, and we're gonna just draw for a little while, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then we'll see what we've done.
all
And we're gonna
right.
show our work. Okay, we're gonna just and talk a little bit about it. We'll talk a
Okay.
little bit about
All
it.
right.
Oh, the
All right.
part.
Okay.
Whatever you're feeling.
And nobody needs to be like a Picasso or anything. I'm not. I'm so not. But
Whatever you're feeling. Try and sort of any which way. Hmm? It's not so good. It's not drawing it well. It's just, how are you feeling?
Oh my God, I'm horrified by what I've drawn.
Maybe you have a suitably horrifying explanation as well.
All right, I'm done. I have drawn two faces and I already feel very good after drawing this.
It's nice, no? It's like whatever you're thinking, if you can put it down on paper, it's actually quite liberating.
But what you see on the paper, then you don't feel liberated enough. Like,
See, that's another thing. That's another thing we need to all get rid of is how to judge ourselves. Don't. This is no exercise in judging. This is only what am I feeling right now? Can I express it? Any form of
Yeah.
expression is beautiful.
And it's so strange that you don't know how you're actually feeling unless
Mhm.
you put it on the paper. It's just like how you should write what you want to see at times. You should always write it down,
Yeah,
people say.
totally. Totally. I'm still drawing. And I think Anaya is as well.
Yeah, and I is also drawing.
like if you give her 24 hours, she'll keep on drawing for 24 hours.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So then that's a beautiful way of getting her to actually be in touch with her emotions. If she likes drawing, nothing like it. And children who don't like drawing, just
She
give them
writes
paints.
hours and she draws the rest of the 6 hours.
Is there a way, an off the cuff question, is there a way to get children interested in drawing, or children are generally interested in drawing? I mean,
So
till date I've not met a child who does not
not
want to
interested.
draw.
No? Yeah,
Yeah.
because they always start scribbling. Scribbling is the first form of anything that they will actually start before they start
So
writing.
if a child is scribbling at this, I mean, when he or she is doing this task, if they're
No, mom, no
scribbling,
problem.
okay, all right.
Look at what they're scribbling. The colors will tell you something. The scribbles will
Mm,
tell you something. If there's a lot of confusion, maybe it'll be crazily jumbled up and scribbled, right? That itself will tell you something. Uh, there's nothing fixed about drawing. That's what's beautiful. That's where there's no judgment. You don't have
yeah,
to be an artist to do this at all. And you shouldn't
absolutely.
need to be an artist to do this. You should
Yeah.
be able to just do it.
Okay. So I'm ready with my Picasso.
I'm almost ready.
I have done two portraits. They look absolutely amazing.
Let's see them.
I am
Let
dying.
Vaishali goes first then.
Okay.
And we give Anaya time to finish because I don't want to interrupt her while she's
Picasso
doing it.
here, it's still at work.
No, that's good. Let her. I don't want to
Yeah.
interrupt her.
Oh,
Hi, so cute. I love it. What is it? Okay. Why? Oh,
Now this one was the first drawing that I was making, and this is the second drawing. So I think this is what the actual drawing is. This is I trying to put up a nice face.
nice.
but you are actually.
Yeah,
That's
because
your state of
I had a very, very long day today. I have been sitting and working since 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still doing this. So I think I'm just melting. I'm melting down
See,
right now.
that's such a beautiful representation, and you wouldn't have thought of it. And also, what I really love about it is the two things: the face that you like to put on in front of people, and we all do, and the
Yeah,
actual when it comes down to actually bearing your soul.
yeah, yeah.
So, okay, I'll go next,
Yeah, sure.
and then we'll get. So, I am present in the moment right now. So, there are a couple of things that I drew. One was because I always love when I'm talking about this kind of thing, I always feel very rejuvenated and things like something growing, like
Mm,
nature. I feel like a little bit like that. So the tree and the flowers. And then I have this, which I feel
Hmm.
represents an awakening of the spirit.
yeah.
So instead of a third eye, I've drawn a flame over there. And the point being, you're trying to awaken, or I feel that right now, I actually feel when I'm talking about this itself, my mind is feeling rejuvenated. So I'm actually happy. And I've had a fairly stressful day. I think we're all having stressful days now with so much work and whatnot going on. Just
Absolutely.
talking about it, just going through some of these exercises is calming me down. And I feel like I can feel that,
Yeah.
rejuvenation, that tingly sensation happening. So,
Maybe I upload some of my drawings after the session is done, and hopefully this will be much more legible and better than what you see right now.
I think that's beautiful though. Any expression, it's
Yeah.
not about, and I have to emphasize this, any expression, please do not judge your drawing skills because
Mm.
that's
No,
not the
not
point of
drawing
the
skills. I
exercise.
mean the feeling. I hopefully I'll be out of this feeling that I have
Yes,
drawn. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Sonia, what do we have?
Yes.
Sonia and Anaya.
Anaya goes.
Oh, no.
Go, go, go.
No.
Okay, and Sonia goes first.
So that's me.
Oh, lovely.
Okay.
You've also got the third eye
No,
open.
it wasn't the third eye. It was these chinta ki lakir.
Oh, Chinta. Oh, so sad.
I can't imagine me having a third eye for sure. But these drawers is like, because my state of mind right now is okay. What am I doing and what should I be doing?
Hmm. So maybe you need those breathing exercises quite
Yeah,
often during the day.
lot. I needed a lot more. It was very relaxing, but yeah, I guess I
Yeah.
just need
It's
to.
beautiful. Yeah, it really helps. Gosh, I know. I'm a worry wart myself. I have panic attacks, and I'm not like the ideal, specimen to say, oh, I'm so mindful or whatever. But I try, and that
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. You have
Who
to
is
try.
ideal in that space? Like I want to.
Mm.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, I guess
Anaya,
we could pretend to be.
Anaya, please show your drawing to us because we
Come
are
on and talk about it
running
also,
out
no?
of the time. And Anaya, this is the last activity that we are doing, so don't worry. You can just show your little drawing, whatever you have done.
And I
So
was not
cute. What
All
is it?
right.
What is it?
to talk about it. What is it? So I'll show it and you talk about it.
Okay, tell your mama, and then she can tell everybody.
Okay, tell me. What's your state of mind when you draw this? Or what are you representing?
Why did you draw it? What were you thinking when you drew it?
Drained
Nothing.
out. End of the day.
Nothing.
End of the day. So her tongue has come out.
Oh, right. So she said, yeah. See, that's really
Her hand is like, la, la, like that. She's like, हो गया, दिन खत्म हो गया.
Great.
that's really great. Actually, that's a lovely way of doing it. And I think so. This is the thing. You get to assess your feelings. So what I was
Mm.
started off the thing by saying, no, take some time in the morning to assess your day.
Yeah.
What do you have in front of you? What challenges do you have? And ready your mind for it. Steel yourself
Mm.
for whatever challenges that the day might bring. At the end of the day, take this time out to assess and process whatever you've gone through in the day, because it's always an emotional roller coaster that we go through. Some days are good, some days are bad, but it's always good to process it and try to sleep with a calm mind. You shouldn't sleep on that roller coaster of emotions. So if you can calm yourself down from that,
Yeah. I mean, I
highs or
think
lows, it doesn't matter if you're super excited or super low. You need to come to that somewhere in that just calm space, and then try to go to sleep. Another thing you can do, just quickly talking about exercise, we won't go through any of these exercises, but I'm just going to tell you, and if you have any
before
questions,
that,
then we can go to that.
before you go into the next set of exercises, Mallika, I would like to
Yeah.
thank Sonia and Anaya for joining us. And Anaya, you can go take your dinner and have a good night's sleep.
And come out
Thank
of
you,
And
Sonia.
relax,
And
yeah,
relax.
relax.
And relax because you need that time out right now. Thank you for the drawing, and thank you, Sonia, so much for
we
joining
had
us.
fun. We had real good fun. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thanks. Bye.
Okay. Malika, would you suggest that, uh, I mean, the way we do bedtime stories, can we have bedtime drawings? Like before we go to sleep, is it a good idea to draw and then go to sleep?
You can draw it anytime you want. If you want to, I mean, for younger children, yeah, sure, why not? Bedtime stories are lovely, so don't replace them
Yeah.
with that. But
Yeah.
maybe before the bedtime story, you can have a little bit of a drawing session, and
Hmm.
then maybe talk a little bit about what that is. That's really important with your time with your child as well, to assess
Hmm.
what they've been through during the day.
Hmm.
And if
Hmm.
they're
Hmm.
finding it difficult to explain it in words, maybe they'll be able to draw it out in whatever way, shape, or form. And then by asking questions about that drawing, you'd be able to actually understand what their state of mind is. And then
Yeah.
please do go on to a bedtime story if you can, because it's beautiful for them. If you
Yeah.
can't, then have some relaxing music playing, listen to some calm sounds. Don't do anything that is very hyperactive just before bed. You need to
Hmm.
be calm. You need to have, your mind needs to wind down. If you're
Hmm.
doing studies before bed, that's not going to keep your mind wound down at all, because what's happening is studying or concentrating on something, your mind will be a buzz and working for a long, long, long time, and it'll take a long time for you to go to sleep. So
So
try to
all
about half
most
an hour
of
before
our
you go to sleep, try to stop. Sorry.
yeah, most of our teenagers, I mean teenage children, actually end up sleeping right after they've finished their homework or their classwork, whatever their preparation for the exam, the night before. I mean, I don't remember calming myself down before going to sleep. When I was studying, I was doing my giving my
But
boards
could you
or
sleep? Could you sleep immediately as soon as your head touched the bed?
no. I would
That's
keep
what I'm
running.
saying.
I would keep running the whatever I studied in my head so that I don't
Mm.
forget them. So that
That's what
would
I'm saying. That's
constantly
what I'm saying.
okay.
And that doesn't help, because that doesn't
Yeah.
keep your mind fresh. So what I used to do, and I think my parents taught me this, to read a little bit before going to sleep. So I used to
Mm.
disconnect from whatever I had been studying or whatever for half an hour before, and I used to
Mm-hmm.
go into this world of fantasy or something, and that helped me sometimes. But as
Mm.
I grew older, my problem was my imagination was too used to run riot, and then that used to keep the story used to keep running in my head. So I was like, okay, that's not going to work. So I used to listen to some calming music,
Okay.
or something that would just make me quietly fall asleep, because otherwise what would happen is, if I studied before I went to sleep,
Mm.
I would keep thinking about that work, and it would keep me awake, and then I would be in a very bad mental space the next day to actually go
Mm-hmm.
and do that exam or do whatever that task was, because I'm still tired. My brain has not got that enough rest that it needed, that I wouldn't necessarily be able to concentrate. And then, that actually causes you to forget things. When your brain is tired, even if you know something
Mm.
and you've studied it, you can draw a complete blank, right?
Mm.
So if you
Mm.
don't want to do that, please study, and don't overdo it as well, right? So recognize your limits. If your limit is 15-20 minutes of concentrated work, do it, get up, have a 2-minute break, do something else, and then come back to it. And then about half an hour before you
Yeah.
go to sleep, please switch off all your gadgets and TV and everything else. Listen to instrumental music, listen to nature sounds, whatever it is. Do some drawing, do some reading, anything that just basically makes your eyes droop, right?
Okay. All
That's what
right. That is
that
a
would
very important thing, because
yeah.
I'm sure many parents who have teenage children,
Mm,
teenagers at home,
mm,
uh, need to know this, because most of us are bogged down by academics and lot of tests happening. I think this is very very important. I would like all the parents to keep start typing your questions onto our comment section, because we are going to take your questions in about 5 minutes.
mhm.
And Malika, if you could just tell us quickly a few more activities that we could do in the next five
Yes,
minutes. Yeah.
absolutely. So, one thing that mindfulness does, again, for everybody, is it helps you focus and helps your attention, yes, but what is it doing to your brain? And what happens is your memory increases, you become more efficient at your work, and all this is
Mm,
because you're actually being able to concentrate and focus on what you are doing.
mm,
So that is one very good skill to develop. So there are a lot
mm,
of these other exercises. One really nice exercise for children and adults alike is to focus on a lamp. So if you
mm,
have a lamp in front of you, and by focus on it, I don't mean you just keep looking at it, but one very cool thing to do, and especially for children, is I'm going to take my glasses off for this. You sort of
mm.
squint. You
So,
look at the lamp. You look at the flame,
Okay, and squint.
slightly squinted eyes. And what that does, and you can't do it for a very long time, unfortunately, because eyes will start
Mm,
hurting. But you can
mm,
do it for about 30 seconds to a minute. And what that does, and if you try it, is you'll see, even if you do it with a normal bulb, you'll feel the rays of light coming towards you and
yeah,
entering you.
yeah.
And that's a beautiful feeling because you feel very warm. And then
Mm,
you open your eyes again after about that 30 seconds, open your eyes and just focus on it maybe for another 30 seconds. That's
mm,
it. We're not asking you to do it for a long amount of time. A minute is enough. But the idea is to suffuse yourself with that warmth, to feel that that warmth from the light is coming into your body and actually experience it. Right?
mm,
In Hindi, there's a mehsoos karna hai. You can actually feel
huh,
it inside.
mm,
It's a
mm,
beautiful word. So that's one thing. Another thing that for older kids, and of course all of us as well, adults, is observation, mindful observation. And that's what I was talking about when you sit
mm,
quietly and just calmly, you're an observer. You are not involved in anything that is happening in your surroundings. You're just an observer. You're calmly observing whatever it is, situation, people going by, what is happening. You observe yourself and what you're feeling. So that is, you can take some time out, and you should, morning, whenever you have that little time to do this, so
mm.
that you're aware of your surroundings. So often we get so caught up in our lives that we forget about our surroundings.
So,
But it's
is there any follow-up activity along with observation? Because observation is something that you never know whether you're doing it or not. Is there any way to build that habit of observing?
so
So,
yeah. So
yeah,
one way we explored was drawing it out. You
yeah.
can write about, if you're not a great drawer, you don't
Mm,
think drawing is great, then write it
mm,
out. You
okay,
can talk about it. You can do whatever you feel that expresses yourself the best.
okay, okay.
Write music about it. Whatever that you feel that expresses that emotion. That uh, it's not even an emotion. That's just the feeling you get from just observing your surroundings,
Mm-hmm.
right? Whatever it is. Um, Also, there's self-observation, which is really
Mm,
interesting. So that why is this different? It's because, again, as I said, how many of you? This is
mm,
a genuine question. How many of us think, uh, what am I sitting on? What is that feeling?
yeah.
What is the feeling of my clothes on my skin? What is the feeling of maybe this ring on my skin? And if you start paying attention to it, you'll actually feel it. Things that you won't feel otherwise,
Mm,
right? Because now, for example, you and I have been talking, and I've
mm,
been sitting on this chair for a while. Now, I've not really been noticing that. But if I think about it, I'm like, okay, that's actually maybe a little pokey, or not that comfortable or whatever. And you've been wearing headphones for a really long time. That's got to
yes.
hurt,
Yeah.
right?
It is. It
But
is.
because you're so involved in the
Yeah.
conversation, you're not going to
Mm,
actually feel that. But
mm,
and there's so many hajar senses, sensory information that's coming in all the time that we're not aware of. And it's good to be aware of these things, because the more aware
mm,
of what you have in your life, the more enriched it is. And at the end of the
mm,
day, all these goals, now, it's very good, and we have to have them, goals and working and learning and
mm,
all these things. But if we stress about it, and we stress
mm.
about the result, and we forget about just us being
Yeah.
here in this moment, in this place,
Mm,
then that's not really living, is it? That's just your life becomes a series of goals, or a series of activities, or a series of
yes.
wants, or a series of,
Wants. Yeah.
it's not about what you have,
Mm-mm.
it's about what you don't have. And that's so sad, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So mindful living will teach you to be very, very aware and very thankful or grateful for what you have, I think.
Yeah. I think we can start taking the questions from our viewers now.
Yes.
I would really request all of you to keep keep writing, because we are getting comments where they are saying, yes, the drawing exercise was very good. Uh, and somebody has sent a heart. Sharmila has sent us a heart. Dr. Rupal Shah is asking us to repeat the exercises of mindfulness.
Repeat the exercises as in go through them, or just list them out?
Okay, there is a very interesting question, Malika. Before we go into a recap of some of the
Yeah.
activities,
Mhm.
is mindfulness and heartfulness the same? Sophia Das is asking.
Like creativity, artfulness. Oh,
Heartfulness.
heartfulness.
Yeah.
I think being mindful makes you a more empathetic person. I think if you're aware of your surroundings, if you're aware of other people, and it's not just your surroundings, right? It's about other people in your life. If you're aware of them,
Mm.
you automatically are aware of their feelings. You're automatically aware of, you start becoming more intuitive. You start
Mm.
noticing. This is why observing, right? You start noticing things about people. How are they feeling? What is the expression telling you? People are very not usually very close. Even introverts, even
Mm.
people who try to shutter themselves behind these walls, you
Hmm.
can't do it all the time. You let slip, right? All of
Yeah.
us do. And children throw very expressive. So if
Hmm.
you pay attention to what they are emoting sometimes, not just what they're saying,
Hmm.
you will definitely develop that empathy. And children can also, if you do all these exercises, children also start developing that. The more empathetic you are, the more kind you are,
Hmm.
the more compassionate you are, not just about your near and dear ones, but about everybody you meet, maybe,
Yeah.
and about life itself, about animals, about creatures, about your planet. You become a bit more
Hmm.
kind towards everything around you, and
Yeah.
that's the ultimate goal, right? To live
Hmm.
beautifully, to live kindly, to live, tread softly as you
Hmm.
pass through life.
All right. So let's do a recap of the mindfulness
The
exercises
exercises.
because uh, Dr. Rupal Shah is asking us to do that.
Okay,
And
sure.
there's a new question that has just come in. Rupa is asking how much time in a day should a child and an adult spend on mindfulness? I think you can answer that question and then we can go into the recap of the
Hence the
activities. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
So take some time. I'd say at least 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. Because in the morning, as I said, you try to prepare for your day. Hmm?
Mm,
And if you've got something stressful happening in the day, you know that you're going to be stressed, you can prepare your mind for it. You calm yourself down, you prepare your mind for whatever challenges that you're going to face. And at
mm,
night, if you do that, it's a calm, it's a relaxing exercise. It's something that you do so that um, you get rid of all the stresses from the day,
mm,
and you are calm, or you've dealt with them. Maybe there are situations, there are arguments, there are, whatever you've had that's not gone well in the day, maybe, or it's gone too well
mm.
and you're very, very excited.
Mm,
It can be any of that, right? You need
mm,
to still come down to a place where you are comfortable and just relaxed and can go to sleep, because your mind and body requires that downtime and that sleep.
mm,
So 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. If you can do it a little longer, great. You know,
mm.
if you have the time, then you can extend it beyond that. But that's the minimum, I think. And
Okay.
of course, during the day as well, if you are in any sort of situation where you are distracted or feeling a little down or whatever, you can do any of these exercises to try and get back to focus.
Mm. All right. So if you can just give
Recap.
us a little, yeah, give us a little idea about how to go go about doing a 10-minute mindfulness regime. I think that can help us. Maybe you can, if you can prescribe or maybe suggest a few
Suggest, yeah.
activities which we should make get into a routine with. So if you can just tell
Well,
us that.
I think the deep breathing exercises are a really good way to start it out. And you
Mm,
can do that for about a minute, 2 minutes, and maybe, increase it as time, but start off with that, because that really does make you feel better, physically make you feel better,
Mm.
and mentally as well. And then for children, try to give them these listening exercises. I think even adults, if we don't really listen that much, we don't
Mm.
observe ourselves that much. So that's another really nice exercise to do. Of course, with children, make it a game. Try to ask them, because otherwise they're gonna get fidgety. For
Yeah.
adults, you can observe yourself, every feeling, every sense that you have. Let it flow through, and recognize it. Anything that will
Mm.
usually ignore it, but if you're really just closing your eyes and observing where you are in this space, yeah, whatever you can hear, whatever you can feel, whatever you're touching, whatever is touching you, right? Or
Mm.
what maybe what you feel in your body physiologically as well, your stomach rumbling, or you're feeling a weird taste in your mouth, whatever it is. But try to observe yourself for a while. And then I'd say for adults, especially if you're going through the day, even older children, I think,
Mm.
in the morning, prepare yourself for the day ahead. That's really important. So it's kind of like a schedule. Schedules are really good as well when you're trying to concentrate or trying to achieve something during the day. But
Mm.
preparing yourself for what is coming is also a very good thing to practice, because your readiness is then there, right?
Mm.
You've decided, okay, I'm going to do this, then this, then this, then this. So there's a checklist in your head, and you've gone through it, and it's like it's if you've seen a dancer, or someone who's rehearsed or learnt a routine, right? They can rehearse it in their mind, and it
Mm.
actually does the same thing in your head as you would. It's the same areas of the brain that are activated as you would if you're actually physically doing that movement.
Mm.
So it's your brain, when you rehearse things, actually works a lot better when you're actually doing this, whatever task it is
Okay. So
that
you're
you're asked to
saying
do.
that if we can imagine
Prepare yourself.
how, yeah. So if we, is it a good idea to imagine how the day is going to look,
Yes, yes,
like
exactly. So
to the
whatever you have to
detail,
do,
to the detail?
to whatever detail that you can manage,
Okay.
because you
All
can't
right.
you can't prepare for everything.
Yeah.
Your day is not just about you, and you're not an island. You're not going to be just
Yes.
you. It's going to be other people.
Yeah.
There's going to be interactions, etc. But you can
Yeah.
prepare yourself at least for what
Mm.
you have to do. You can't prepare yourself for what others will do to you.
Yeah.
But hopefully, since you are prepared, you will then, when you need to react, not react, I shouldn't say
Ah.
react, you need to
Yeah.
respond
Respond.
whenever someone else is in front of you and has presented you with whatever situation.
Mm.
You Because you know, and you're ready for a situation, you
Mm.
can take a step back maybe, and then be able to respond
Mm.
to what they need to hear, and in a way that doesn't maybe cause conflict. So preparing yourself for the day will help you in responding to situations that might occur.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
about the preparing yourself. Then when you're so as I said, the observation exercise, the listening to your surroundings exercise, the conscious breathing exercise, these are all really good things. The focusing on the lamp is also a really nice thing. That could be the last thing you do.
Mm.
It's just
Before you
focus
go to bed?
before you start your day.
Okay, before you start your day. Okay.
Before you go to bed, also that's it's all right to do it.
Mm.
But
Mm.
before you go to bed, I would suggest doing more things like reflecting on the day.
Okay.
So try to de-stress. Try to again observe your emotions. Maybe do a little bit of emotion drawing.
Mm.
Try to deal with whatever you've had during the day, because you've had a lot going on during the day that you may not have had time to process, because you've
Absolutely.
jumped from one thing to the other. So this is a time for
Absolutely. Yeah.
reflection and trying to process what you've done. So the drawing helps. The sitting quietly, if you're older, with your emotions and trying to assess them helps. And if you feel like drawing them out or writing them out or
Singing
creating
them.
music, anything, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Do it. It's great. It's a release. So you're
Mm.
looking for that release, right? Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to get all these thoughts out of your head and get to a point where you are calm and contented and balanced,
Mm.
and your mind is not full of things,
Yeah.
you can go to sleep. So then, listening to calming music, listening to nature sounds, right? Try not to have the distractions of technology maybe
Mm.
around you. But I wouldn't like say it's an absolute no, because I know that sometimes if you read books on Kindle, that's fine. That also puts you to sleep. But try to put your settings into dark mode or something like that, which
Mm-hmm.
doesn't hurt your eyes, because the backlight from your
Yes.
devices actually stimulates your brain into thinking that it's actually morning time or awake.
Morning time. Okay.
Yeah, because it's not really morning time, but
Mm.
it definitely stimulates your brain into a more awake state,
Okay.
because it's bright, and you
Mm.
don't want that brightness just before you sleep. So
Yeah.
you want it to be in dark mode, at least if you're reading. It
Yeah.
pains your eyes less as well. So preferably, just before going to sleep, put your devices off and close your eyes for a bit and do your deep breathing exercises. Or if you can get to the point where you can imagine that flame in your head, and try
Mm.
to just put every other thought as it comes through. Let it come through,
Mm.
but don't dwell on it. Let the thoughts come through and let them go. Let the thoughts come through and let them go. That's one way of decluttering your mind,
Mm.
right? It's easier said than done, because we
Yeah.
usually end up fixating on something or the other. But you can pull yourself back. You can really pull yourself back and go, okay, I shouldn't be fixating on this. Let it go. Let it go. And then slowly, you will be calm enough to go to sleep. So
Yeah,
those
but
are the things I'd suggest.
yeah, I mean, thank you so much for this routine that you have told us. But if we really want this to work, I think we'll have to really practice it.
Yes,
And I think
absolutely.
practice is the key. Doing, I mean, attending a webinar, listening to you, taking the notes down, and not practicing is not going to help. So
Then it
I would,
doesn't help. Mhm.
yeah. So I would request everybody to at least tonight practice a little bit of mindfulness
Little bit of it.
before
Try the
going.
deep breathing, maybe.
Yeah, like the
Try
deep
the deep
breathing, or the wacky painting. But I think you should practice something tonight at least. That will be the biggest takeaway of today's webinar for all of you. I promise that. There's one more question. I think we can take it, but I don't know whether we can help, with this or not. Preeti is asking, how would you recommend schools to space out their online classes? Yes, there are a lot of school teachers watching us also. So
breathing.
before you log off, please listen to this. How would you recommend schools to space out their online classes? What can we do at the child's end or the children's end to make it less digitally overwhelming? I think it's a very pertinent question, especially for today. Teachers are struggling, and I
Yes, children are struggling
completely.
as well.
Children are struggling, teachers are struggling, parents are also, they are clueless what to do. I
Yes.
think if you can give us a little idea about how all of us, teachers, parents, and
Mhm.
children, can space our selves out from and detach a little bit from online sessions a little. Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, we can't really help the online sessions, and
Yeah.
I guess it's going to become a way of life in some ways. It's going to be
Yes.
more permanent
Yeah.
than we think it is.
Yeah.
But there are definitely things to. So definitely, I'd say from the home front, bring this 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night into their routine,
Routine. Mm.
and into your routine as well, because I think you lead by example, right?
Mm.
And I
Mm.
think if you are calmer, your children will also be calmer.
Mm.
So because I think as adults we have a way more stress levels than sometimes children do,
Yeah.
and that
Yeah.
translates into them also being stressed. So
Mm.
make that routine from the parents' side. um, Online classes, again, from what the parents can do. I'm starting with the parents and I'll move on to children and
Mm.
teachers as
Mm.
well. What the parents can do is make sure that the environment that they're learning in is not distracting.
Yes.
So let them have a quiet space. Let them have. I always say this: water, something to eat, anything with them, so
Hmm.
that they're not hungry or thirsty, because they're sitting there for a long time just listening. They're doing passive
Hmm.
listening, which is
Hmm.
not actually, is very tiring for your brain after some time. So you need that nutrition going in. You need, so have a healthy drink, have maybe fruits, something small, nothing heavy, nothing
Yeah.
heavy,
Hmm.
just a light snack, nothing, no junk food,
Yeah.
please. No junk food because that doesn't help. Something light, something nutritious, and definitely water.
Hmm.
Okay, by their side. Have all their stuff that they need within reach. So pencils, paper, notebook, textbook, whatever they need within reach, so that they
Hmm.
don't have to get distracted by going to look for something during that.
Hmm.
Right. So these are the things the parents can do to create that environment.
Hmm.
Right. What can teachers do? Teachers have to, I think we have to understand that children, the attention span thing, children are going to
Hmm.
zone out even in class. Even in class, when the teachers in class, they zone out after about 20 minutes in a 40-minute class. So
Yeah.
even in class, I encourage teachers, whenever I do workshop and things with them, I encourage them to have a break.
Hmm.
If you have a 40-minute class, do 15 minutes of maybe a lecture, do a 10-minute activity,
Hmm.
some activity related to your lesson, and
Hmm.
then do another 15 minutes of a lecture. And that break gives the brain a very needed outlet
Hmm.
and something to do, because passive listening is difficult for the brain. It's also going to tax it, and it's going to make it very tired.
Hmm.
You're actively doing something, you're now activating lots of different parts of the brain. So you've given the brain a bit of a wake up, right?
Hmm.
And then you can go back to doing something. So the thing is now to how to transfer this to an online session. Yeah, we've still got 40 minutes maybe, and now it's even more passive, because you don't
Yeah.
have your teacher in front of you. Do you don't have your students, like your classmates, so you can maybe talk
Hmm.
to or to interact with. You're just sitting in front of a screen and listening, so it becomes
Hmm.
way more passive. It becomes almost like binge watching TV,
Yes.
which doesn't actually. So that's why kids actually have problems if it's just passive information going in, have problems retaining it,
Yeah.
because they're zoning out at some point. So then what can you do? Try to bring that activity into your classroom as well. Maybe have two activities instead of one activity.
Hmm.
Split your class up accordingly, right?
Hmm.
Think about when you're planning your class, think about it. What are the activities I can do that relate to this particular lesson? And it need
Hmm.
not be like a physical activity. It might be
Hmm.
a brain game as well, right? So for
Hmm.
example, if you're teaching history for an older class, you're teaching history, get them to role play, get them to think what they do in that situation if they were in,
Yeah.
a character from the past or whatever. So you put them in that, and then they're thinking along different lines. So
Hmm.
your brain diverting its attention from just listening to what you're doing, to actually starting to think on its own and start to problem solve or creative thinking. That's really interesting for the brain, right?
Hmm.
For younger children, you can actually have worksheets that you can get
Hmm.
them to do, get them to actually draw stuff and show it up, show
Yeah.
their work, do problems. So you can, if you've got a class of 35, like you would get them to do things on the blackboard, get them to do things on paper and show
Yeah.
their work, right? So try to bring some activities into your classroom, things that all kids can do, right?
Hmm.
So and even if it is just a brain break, you think, oh my god, the child has been sitting down for so long and they need to stand up and do something.
Hmm.
Get them to stand up, jump up and down a little bit, clap their hands, it doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
getting them moving, getting their blood flow going, getting their circulation going. And then when you get back to it, get them to do the deep breathing once, twice, thrice, so that they are back to
Hmm.
focusing. So these are small things that we can actually try and do to make it easier for the children to pay attention and focus on what we're doing.
Great. Great. Thank you so much, Malika. Thank you. And yes, we have somebody saying that thanks a lot, ma'am. We will definitely put it into regular practice. Yes, please do put it into regular
Please do.
practice. I again would like to apologize for starting late. That's the reason we are also finishing late. But have a very good night. And if you have any other questions, please, you can still go onto the comment box and type your questions. We'll be very happy to answer them in our future webinars. Thank you, Mallika, once again for joining us and giving us such interesting activities to do. And I am sure this is going to help all of us, teachers, parents, children, to be more aware, be more observant, and be more careful with whatever we do. Thank you.